Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a look into a new subreddit for the channel anyway, and this one is called r/TalesFromYourServer. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please, thank you. So, of course, little disclaimer, any opinions that I give on the posts that we read today are that they are just my opinions, they are not fact, and they do not need to be taken as such. If you have a different opinion, do feel free to share it. Just make sure you're staying respectful in the comments. Don't be mean to anyone that doesn't agree with you or have the same opinion. Let's keep it good vibes all round, okie dokie? Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? So, this first one was posted by Bittersweet Charity 1. Instant karma served with coffee. It was 1995 in central Arkansas, and I was 18 years old working the graveyard shift at Denny's. Anyone who has worked that shift knows the vibe. It stays quiet until the bars let out, and then the drunk and entitled crowd rolls in. Oh, goody. I was waiting on a table of 4 men, and one guy was a complete nightmare. Loud, demanding, and incredibly intoxicated. He was making such a scene that my manager, a kind African-American man, walked over and politely asked the group to keep it down for the sake of the other diners. The drunk guy immediately snapped and launched into a stream of vile racial slurs. My manager stayed professional, kept his voice level, and told him, "Okay, you need to leave now." Yeah, I don't blame him, to be honest. If he hadn't have kept it professional and given him a good smack round the chops, I wouldn't have blamed him. How disgusting. The guy hit him with the classic line, "Do you know who I am? I'm not leaving, clearly not, and get out, you weirdo." While his 3 friends, finally showing some sense, tried to hustle him toward the door. As they reached the front counter, near the service openings, the guy suddenly broke away from his friends and body rushed the manager, charging into the staff area with pure intent to do damage. What a weirdo. My manager didn't hesitate or flinch. He timed it perfectly and met the guy's momentum head on. He caught him mid-rush, used the guy's own weight against him, and hoisted him off the ground before slamming him flat on the floor. Good, he deserves it. Before the drunk could even process what had happened, my manager was over him, landing a punch and roaring, "Get the fuck out of my restaurant!" The police and an ambulance were called, and the guy actually tried to have my manager prosecuted for assault, because of course he did. However, because the guy had charged into the back of house area, it was a clear-cut case of self-defense. Every single person on the waitstaff wrote statements backing our manager up, so he didn't get into a lick of trouble. The jerk got hauled away, the restaurant went quiet for a beat, and then we just went back to serving coffee. 30 years later, I still remember that day that nice manager finally had enough. And yeah, I do not blame him. That is just absolutely vile behaviour. Like, that's another level of disgraceful, you know? I don't blame him one bit for doing that. And I am so glad that he didn't catch any heat from the authorities with that guy trying to accuse him of being the one who assaulted him, because obviously, with him being a black man and the authorities' habit of treating people of colour disproportionately negatively for no reason, you know, this could have gone a whole lot worse. So then down in the comments, Total Fail 6994 says, "Beware the anger of a patient man." Exactly. Because they are probably someone who has sat back and taken as much as they can handle for a long time. And then, you know, quite rightly so as well, that moment where that one person who really deserves it gets it. Okay then, next post posted by HandleDents4970. Woman seats herself next to another table, steals their cards, and leaves. I've never had anything like this happen before. A two-top? I don't know. A two-top of lovely 50 to 60-year-old women was sat at a small two-seater table, enjoying a prolonged lunch. Then, a single woman, younger, starts circling the dining room while on the phone. I assume she's looking for someone to join, but eventually she seats herself directly next to those women, saying there was no host at the front, which appeared to be true. I gave her a menu. She says she was waiting for a friend. This was at around 3:30, so between lunch and dinner shifts, when I'm the only server and the staff is more scarce. When I come back to get a drink order from her and her friend, they are being shifty and avoiding eye contact, while saying they weren't ready to order, which I thought was just a sign of them getting ready to tip me like shit. Nothing out of the ordinary. By the time I look back, they're gone, so I assumed they didn't like the menu and went about my business. The older women leave, and I get somewhat slammed. My manager comes up to me like an hour later, pretty frazzled, and asked if anyone left a credit card because one of those ladies' cards are gone and are already being charged. I make the connection and let him know. The women come back with one of their husbands to look under the table and let me know that somebody stole multiple cards and had already spent 20k. How in the hell do you do that in such a short space of time? At no point did this woman even take her wallet out, as her friend paid, so the young women must have reached into her purse and snagged several cards. The cops came and I gave my manager a description, but I was actually pretty shocked / impressed at the damage and let multiple other tables know about the drama, since it held up my service a little bit. Seems like these two are pretty practiced at this and these women will not go hungry, but I was shocked at the magnitude of the charges in such a short time. I imagine that it's probably because they are part of some sort of like ring, you know, like with like organized crime or something like that for that kind of thing. So they probably know like very fast ways to get money off of these cards very, very quickly. That's the only thing I can imagine, because, I mean, to be able to pilfer the cards so slyly when it wasn't even the woman who had her cards out that had her cards stolen. My goodness. Anyway, let's have a look at the comments. So, down in the comments, Snarky75 says, bullshit. No way their credit card company is letting them spend 20k without calling her, unless she spends that much all the time. I got called when I spend odd amounts or spend out of the country. I got a phone call once because I tried to pay a phone bill. My phone bill was slightly more that month because sometimes when you take out like a phone contract in the UK or you renew your phone contract, if you upgrade the phone, sometimes you'll get like a one-off charge, and they add it to your first bill. So it can mean your first bill can be like maybe double, or, you know, like 30 quid more or 20 quid more, whatever. So that had happened and they rang me up. They blocked my card and then rang me up. This is for a debit card, by the way. I don't have a credit card and I never have. And they were like, oh, yeah, we've blocked your card because of a suspicious transaction. I was like, okay, I get it. This transaction has gone to the person who I have had my phone with for years. So could we have not used a little bit of like brain cells on this one, you know? But I mean, at the end of the day, better be safe than sorry, I suppose. And I do get what they're saying about like 20,000 without calling her, but there have been times when people have had thousands upon thousands stolen off their credit cards or off of their bank cards. So I don't think it's out of the scope of reality that it can happen. I think it depends who you have your cards with, who you bank with, and what methods the people who have stolen your cards and info are using as well, I suppose. So then War Wizard 25 says, really depends on the credit card company. My B of A card got denied the literal first time I tried to use it due to unusual activity. No bleep, it's brand new. That would really annoy me. That would make me angry. My wife's Discover was legit, got tested on a couple of $10 advances on a horse track near NJ, then wild night at the bar and an Uber home. Discover only flagged it the next day, 12 hours later, when the thieves went over the limit trying to get very nice custom cabinets. At least they made themselves very easy to identify and catch. So, next post, posted by SaltyYouth27, allergic to letting my server speak. It's my job to walk you through the menu if you need it, and work around allergens. Of this, I'm aware. But not while you cut off every sentence I start. Oh, I hate that. To repeat your question/demand that I'm in the middle of answering. Sometimes I wonder if people have working ears and brains. Hi, we all want to share sushi rolls, but no spicy. They're allergic to spicy. What rolls do you have that are not spicy? Oh, gotcha. I'll make a note of the allergy. We can work with that. Did you have an idea of what you do like? Raw? Baked? Definitely baked. What baked rolls are most popular? Cool. So this is our baked page. The baked salmon is not spicy. They're allergic to spice. Yeah, no, we can make it without. Can you make it without spice? Yeah, I've taken note of the allergy, so we can take the spicy mayo off, but it's going to be drier than it's meant to be unless we use regular mayo instead. No, my dad doesn't like mayo. Oh, okay, so the other 4 rolls you ordered, the ones we had this same slow, thorough conversation about step by step, and the rolls we're discussing right now, they all contain imitation crab that has mayo in. I said my dad doesn't like mayo. So, like, 90% of our sushi rolls are either going to be spicy tuna or imitation crab inside, but we can substitute no mayo or spicy. At this point, I straight up considered walking away because I almost crashed out. I couldn't finish a single sentence trying my absolute best to accommodate her. Without spice or mayo, it became a game of build-a-roll. Okay, we're going to go off topic for a second because I don't know why this irks me as much as it does, but I hate the saying crashed out or crashing out. I think it's such a shit saying for, like, losing your mind. There are so many better ones. Like, I'm gonna flip my fucking lid. You know? I'm about to freak the fuck out. Like, crashed out just sounds so... It's got no pizzazz. Anyway, that is one of the most stupid things ever, but it really annoys me. Like, my eldest says it, and I'm like, please, can you just find a different way to say that? Because I hate that saying so much. And now they do it more and think it's funny, so, you know, wish I'd never said anything. Anyways, he doesn't like mayo. Yeah, it's just like, okay, so we get it. He doesn't like mayo, can't have spicy. Could you please just shut the fuck up and let me tell you what other stuff there is then? Otherwise, we're both going to be here for a long old time, wasting each other's time. See, this is why I will never work in a restaurant ever again. Ever. I hated it. I did it when I was like 18, I think. I worked in a restaurant and I despised every moment of it. I don't have the patience for people that is required to do that job. I am very much more of a solitary worker, you know, which is why I ended up going self-employed, because I was like, I cannot. So, down in the comments, Big Daddy Dan Pre says, goes to Prince's Hot Chicken in Nashville and asks for something not spicy. Or chicken. So, Terrellet says, my family does this and it drives me nuts. Took them to a place famous for its barbecue ribs. Mum orders grilled chicken and complains it's not good. Popular local snow cone place. Dad orders a milkshake and complains it's just okay. Chicken place. They order fish. Basically, drag us kicking and screaming to an all-you-can-eat fish place. Barely touch anything because they're not really craving it. Oh my goodness. Honestly, at that point, you start to wonder if they do it on purpose, and I feel they might. Next post, posted by Affectionate Tone 4570. Pregnant and harassed by a regular. Oh, God. This older couple, maybe 65-ish, started coming in specifically wanting to sit in my section. They tipped 20% every time and were okay to deal with, a bit overzealous and expected me to always remember their order, but not bad. Then a fellow co-worker female pulled me aside a few months later and said, "Oh my god, that table used to be my regulars, but the guy non-stop texted me. And when I refused service, he bought me a tutu for my birthday." What? Also, how the hell did he get your number? Then when she refused to serve him, manager told him, he threw a fit. Big red flags, obviously, so I never looked at them the same. Fast forward a literal week later, and the guy joked about getting my number. He knows my husband works there part-time too, knows I'm pregnant, and still has the audacity. I made it a light moment and joked about, "Haha, you're funny," and walked away. Next week, I was scheduled later than usual. I saw them watch me walk from my car into work from the window, and I walked past and didn't greet them. They were sitting in someone else's section. Next day, I was scheduled later again and talking in the side station. The man pulled me aside. "I heard your voice. Come, I need to talk to you." I think the fuck not, pal. I did when I had a moment, and he goes, "We waited 40 plus minutes for you. We can't be doing this anymore, so maybe give my wife your number so we can avoid this because I am so upset you weren't here." Oh no. How is his wife okay with this behaviour as well? I told him no. I would get fired for that, and also there's plenty of great servers they could sit with. I immediately went to my manager and she said I can refuse to serve them now because this is so wrong and inappropriate. I've been so stressed because this guy is giving major creep-ass red flags. I'm pregnant and I just want to avoid the stress. I have to go to work and possibly see this couple tomorrow, and it's just been horribly stressful for me. Edited to add, manager did try to go talk to them, but by the time she got there, they were gone. Yeah, that's just so creepy and so inappropriate. And why do all the letters now look blue on the screen? That is so weird. What is going on? I think my eyes have gone a little bit funny because the letters look blue until I look away from them. Is this my brain telling me it's time for bed? That's so weird. Anyway, so down in the comments, Bobby2393 says, "A tutu? Is your co-worker a ballet dancer, or was that just out of pocket?" Yeah, I'm so confused on why he got them a tutu. From the rest of it, with the wife's involvement, I might think they're just boundary ignoring creepy. But a tutu without a contextual explanation pushes it into creepy creepiness. Yeah, ew either way. And at the end of the day, whether the intention is nefarious or whether they are just boundary steppers to the extreme, it's still not okay behaviour. You can't be doing things that make people feel that uncomfortable. Like, have a little self-awareness, for goodness sake. You're 65. So glad you have a supportive manager. What a difference that makes. As long as you don't have to serve them, I'd take some deep breaths and focus on that to try mitigating your stress. Exactly. And then the OP says, "I believe it was out of pocket," with a little puking emoji. She's never mentioned being a ballerina or anything, but still, even if she was, that's really uncomfortable. Yeah, exactly. The wife is quiet and subservient. She just reads the whole time while he talks. She's probably sick of his shit too. She's nice, but he definitely is the talker who can't get enough of hearing himself. Thank you, with a little heart. Yeah, okay, so that tells us all we need to know, doesn't it, really? She's just as fed up with him as the servers. Right then, last post for the day. Bent but not broken says, "Customer tells me she'll tip me later, then lies to her friends and prevents them from tipping me." I am honestly speechless and was not aware people like these exist. This Saturday night was quite busy, but I had an all around pleasant experience with this 9 top. Okay, someone has got to tell me what a top is, because I have no idea. I've never heard this kind of wording used. We don't use it here, that's for sure, for like to describe customers, and I'm not sure what it means. They came in for a birthday and racked up a bill just short of €300, which is on the upper end for our Chinese tapas place. Service and food went perfectly, and I was complimented a lot by the lovely guests. Then one of the women comes up and asks to pay everything in secret. Fine by me, I don't mind. She explicitly tells me that she will handle the tip later. Lovely. Sometimes big tables pull tips, so it didn't raise any red flags. People were surprised she paid, some a bit upset, but that's not my beer. They were getting up to leave just before close when I overheard the topic of tips being raised, and the woman literally assured them that she'd tipped me. I was speechless. People asked her how much she tipped me, some offered to pull some tips. She completely deflected the topic. It got a little heated from what I could tell. They were still arguing in the exit. I wonder if she's done this before then. So this lady did something that absolutely stunned me. She walked over to our counter, where the register is, opened her wallet, fiddled with it, and left to tell her friend she'd left a tip. My manager saw it all and was equally surprised. I couldn't believe the audacity, and it sunk in once they left. As tips are not mandatory in my country, I would have been cool if she decided not to tip. Her choice, but all this show pissed me off so much. Literally lied to me and lied to her friends. For what? Yeah, exactly. Like, tipping is not a thing here in the UK. I think tipping is maybe something that you do if you really like the person who you've had a service from. So, say if you have your hair done by someone, then you go, I'm going to chuck them a fiver because they've done an amazing job. But it is not something that we typically ever do here, and it's certainly not expected. A few places I've noticed have started to try and sneak on an option if you pay by card to tip, but obviously because it's not something required and the people working get paid at least the minimum wage, which, yeah, obviously, a lot could argue that that's just not enough these days, but they do get paid what is seen as a fair wage. Tipping just isn't a thing because they don't need that to survive on. So we don't do it. But you know, I do get in some places it's like literally expected, and then in other places it's something that maybe is more often done but as a nicety. But yeah, to say you're going to leave a tip and then fake leaving a tip to make sure nobody else does, that's just so weird because they wanted to leave a tip. So why would you prevent them from spending their own money? That's so odd. So the OP then says, an otherwise good evening, just soured by this. I didn't feel like it was my place to speak up, but it just feels so unfair, man. So down in the comments, Impurita says, honestly, I found that if the customer is talking about the tip, they are not going to tip. And then Jovially Imperfect says, take the service charge off, I'll sort you out, equals, take the service charge off, I don't want my friends to know. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Governor Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye, and don't forget to leave an offering of a comment for Big Al.